Welcome, Bills Mafia, to Bills or Bust, the podcast dedicated to all things Buffalo Bills. I'm Tom Murphy. Join in as we talk about the Buffalo Bills, of course, and also the other 31 teams in the league that will watch us win the Super Bowl or bust. Hey, Bills Mafia. Thank you for coming into the Bills or Bust podcast. I'm Tom Murphy. Very thrilled to be joined by my buddy and fellow Bills fan, Mike Florio. How's it going, Mike?
Not too bad, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Man, I got to start right off the bat. You have a very familiar name in the football world.
I do.
Yes. I thought it was just one Mike Florio. There's actually two Mike Florios.
We're like rabbits everywhere.
Yeah, neither are Bills fans, so I'm glad I have you on the show instead of those two. I was thinking of the one who's a contributor for Pro Football Talk, and I think you have, you have some stories. You get confused on social media and email on that quite a bit, right?
Oh yeah, people send me their love, their hate, their vitriol, everything. their fanfics about Chris Sims. Yeah, no, I get the whole thing.
I know it's got to be a little annoying at times, and especially since so many people can have vitriol for those personalities and everything. And you're just you're just an innocent guy trying to get by and enjoy the Bills.
Oh, yeah. Usually like around like the draft times or like during like any kind of like major moments, like any kind of scandal or incident that happens, they just get a massive flare up on those.
Oh yeah. It would. I mean, I think my biggest fear if. There's plenty of Tom Murphys out there in the world, but I haven't had any, no confusion there. I think there's just way too many. Like, could you imagine if one of these guys said something like really horrible and was on the verge of getting canceled? That's, yeah.
I would have to like lock my emails account. Be like, just tell everyone like just a phone call.
I know. Yeah, I think it was like 2 years ago. I have a friend. I'm going to leave her name out of this.
Okay.
But there was a viral video in like San Francisco of some woman saying some like racist stuff, and she had the same name as her, and she was getting and they looked nothing alike, half opposite ends of the country, and people were just absolutely like blowing up my friend's Twitter account, which is mainly just cats.
Yeah,
and she's just like, I am not that person in that video. And so let's just hope both Mike Florios,
keep narrow.
Exactly, yes. But I'll be the first to defend you. You're a great guy.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Fantastic character. And you're a fan of the best team in NFL history. The records may not indicate that, but I stand by that comment.
Hey, I stand by the only New York team. Just saying.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes. No, that is absolutely a fact. So I want to give you a stab at last week's trivia that had to do with the draft. It's actually no longer relevant, but, this question came out before I knew what we were going to do. But, okay, so before this past draft, who was the last tight end the Bills took in the first round?
Oh, God. I remember hearing about this. It was in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken.
A little mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I could have swore I heard this. The last tight end they took in the first round. Buffalo's not really known for taking tight ends. This is why, the Kincaid thing is so interesting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Don't know.
It was in 1983.
Okay.
The Buffalo Bills took Tony Hunter, tight end out of Notre Dame.
Yes.
And he was taken 2 picks before another guy who was drafted that same year in the first round.
Tight end as well, or is he different?
Oh, I'm sure you've heard of him.
Oh, God. I mean, 83, I wasn't even alive then, so it's a little outside of my range.
I was 4, but I was not watching the draft.
I have no idea. Yeah, I don't. That draft is too far away for me to comprehend.
Tony Hunter was drafted 12th overall by the Bills, and at 14th overall, the Bills selected a quarterback from University of Miami named Jim Kelly.
Oh, that was the year Jim Kelly was drafted. Yeah, God, I should have known that.
It's a hard one. Like so many people forget that. Yeah, and Tony Hunter, I believe, never played it down for the Bills. I think he had maybe like 70 catches in his career with other
Yeah,
teams. Never like he was one of those.
he was just a bust. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he did. Yeah, I want to. I should investigate these things. I want to say it was the Oilers that he had like the Houston Oilers. I think that he had like not even success with, but actually, got on the field.
Yeah, I
And,
remember the Oilers were a thing.
yeah. Like, oh, exactly. I remember I hated them. I hated Warren Moon, which is a sign of deep respect. He used to
Oh
just
yeah.
murder us.
Well, yeah, it was Moore and Moon. That's there's a little. It's kind of like you have to respect it and you see it coming.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Dan Marino, I always disliked him. I still dislike him. But he never had as much success as Warren Moon did. You know.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, back in the day, like this, and this is kind of where like I'm really excited for the AFC to head now. Is like in the era of the squish the fish, Kelly Marino rivalry. Like Dan Marino was like the Dolphins were a solid ass team, and they
Oh,
were
absolutely.
it was brutal to watch them just go to work every time.
Oh yeah. No, there were so many. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that '90s. I mean, very well. I'm sure you do too. But I
Yeah.
was like a teenager those years. There were just so many players during that. Like even later, Trace Armstrong used to just destroy us. Um, Bernie Parmalee had like a couple huge games against us. But even like during the 20 something year Brady absolute dominance of us. And a lot of the younger fans just say like, "Oh, the Patriots are their most hated team of all time." It's always been the Dolphins for me. Dolphins have just always been my most hated, and I think that's a reflection of my age as well.
Well, and also I think we're on our way back to that because you look at now like with Tua and like
Mhm.
the changing up the guard. The Dolphins are a legitimate team as long as they don't kill their quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. No, they're a bit scary. They always seem to have these signings. We've had success. A friend of mine who's been on the show quite a bit. He's saying, "So yeah, well, we pretty much own the Dolphins." It's like, yes, we are. Like, I think 9-2 in the Josh era, but we were scraping by on the skin of our teeth all of those games last
Oh
year.
yeah, and I remember the one, and this is where I think their particular stadium design is a little unfair. Is that they put the opponents in direct sunlight the entire time.
I
It's
know.
like last year, you saw the guys cramping and like just basically like trying to stay hydrated.
Oh yeah. Oh, Diggs was like crawling back to the sideline, and that guy, he's a warrior.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, we also have the schedule release coming out in a couple of weeks. I'm praying we don't play in Miami in September because I think that was the first time we played in Miami in a while. So I was kind of
Early in
forgetful
the
of that.
season. Yeah, because usually we have them kind of like later, like we'll have like both games kind of in the back half of the season.
Hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. And I've always said, in regards to the Patriots, like in the past few years, once like Brady and Belichick, had their divorce or whatever, went their separate ways, I find each of them more tolerable. I'm not going to say likable, but just way more tolerable now that they're not destroying us on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I would have loved to kind of see like the current age Bills play the current age, or back go see them playing Brady as a Patriot.
Hmm.
I think it would be fun to watch. It'd be a little cathartic as well. Some
Yeah.
emotional release just watching like Ed Oliver just beat the shit out of Tom Brady. But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If yeah, we could have I still contend we probably could have beaten them in that Super Bowl had we not lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship because a lot of things went wrong for the Chiefs that week. So they were not playing with the same intensity or health as they did against us.
yeah,
I always wanted our like last revenge on Brady. We're probably not going to get it. He's not coming back.
oh no,
And it's just like, yeah, it's just something to accept. He owned us, and now it's just onward. And
yeah, and now we're paying it forward by just destroying the team that he left behind.
Oh, absolutely. That's always fun, and
Yeah.
look forward to doing that more. And
Hmm.
it's another reason I'm always like so I'm in a different spot now. I have so many New England Patriot fan friends, and they would always console me like, "Oh man, you guys, like, you guys are on your way up." Like, "Oh yeah, like good for you." And I'm like, but Mac Jones, he's okay, he's okay.
Yeah.
When
I
I
mean,
kind of think the exact opposite.
you're like, Bill's still a genius. It's okay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you still got it. You're good. You're good. You're still, you're still competitive, and it's just it's nice to like have full circle back to like the early '90s where they weren't that much of a threat, and we're on the verge. We are a dominant team. We just need just that last step. That last step.
Yeah, but our window is starting to close because we're going to lose all these guys. Everyone's
Mhm.
1 year deals. Like this is kind of like a make or break year for a lot of these guys because we just don't have the capital to keep them around.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Look
it's
at Tremaine. Tremaine, I would have been mad if he didn't take that contract. 4 years,
oh
7
yeah,
million or
and
whatever
he's
it is.
going. He's also going to, I think he always handled himself well. I was always shocked at how people really were not really fond of Tremaine Edmonds. It changed a little this year, but before they were just like,
Really?
they throw him under the bus, it seemed. And I mean, he thought he was, he didn't have the sexy stats like Darius Leonard or Fred Warner, but he was very solid. He was asked to play a non flashy role.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, you get guys like Matt Milano who tends to have a little bit more of like the starlight in that particular like
Absolutely, yeah.
linebacker role because he's the guy,
Mhm.
really getting in the quarterback space where, Tremaine Edmonds is sitting back there and stopping every catch and doing all this other
Oh, yeah.
shit. So I'm like, yeah,
Mhm. Oh yeah. No, I remember there was a play I always talk about. It was against the Falcons, 2021, where it was pretty much Matt Ryan like rolled out and just like complete open field, and Tremaine just had either the choice to go after Ryan or cover this running back who was around him. And it was just he had to force one, so he forced that. And Matt Ryan completed this pass. They got like 25 yards. We still won the game by 14, but I go onto Twitter and they're just like,
don't
"Oh
get
man, this Tremaine can't do anything." And it's just like he literally there was nothing he could do. He was just damned if he did, damned if he didn't. And yeah,
hell. I
and now
remember,
he's an $18 million man.
yeah, I remember last year. What was it? We were playing against Miami in Buffalo, and there was a point where, you know, uh, Tua was back. He threw a short pass to the outside, and like Tremaine Edmonds dropped the boom on this dude. This
Oh
guy,
yeah.
this guy died for a second, came back to
Mm.
life immediately afterward. But you saw him just like drop the ball. He just got laid the hell out.
Oh.
You see Sean McDermott just like sitting there, like, yeah, best day ever.
Oh no, Tremaine had so many of those. I always thought he was great. I was so hoping he'd stay. We definitely his presence may be missed next year.
But it's the thing that we're talking about with the draft, with the guy that picked from Tulane.
Absolutely, yeah, I did like him. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to cover all of these guys. And yeah, I'm kind of happy for Tremaine. He always handled himself well. He's also going to a place where uh, I know Bears fans are just ecstatic he's there. So he kind of gets a fresh start and just,
Yeah.
where, he's coming in as a veteran, like a 25-year-old veteran, which is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like they're so excited to have him. They're an up and coming team. We're not going to have to face them unless we somehow see them in the Super Bowl in the next 4 years.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because they're not in our standard rotation. We only played them that one time. Yeah.
yeah, and it was last year because it'll be like 4 years from
Yep.
that. No,
Yeah.
maybe,
I think we have Green Bay this year in that rotation.
well, yeah, because we get the division winners
Mhm.
of each, and we actually get this year we play the NFC East, the entire NFC East, and we play the winner of the NFC South, which was Tampa Bay.
Yep.
It will be a lot different than last year. We get our revenge on Baker Mayfield, who was 1-0 against us, and
I kind of like
yeah.
Baker Mayfield though. Even though like the dude just kind of had so many bad raps, and then he just got shuttled around, and like even in LA, they just kind of like they just threw him away.
Oh yeah, and it's I mean they talk about him as just being like this monstrous bust. I think he's been disappointing for a first overall pick. I'm very glad the Browns did not take Josh Allen with that first overall pick. But like, he has not been terrible. Like, it seems like he's gonna stick around in the NFL for a bit. I think probably a better career than Sam Bradford, but yeah, it doesn't look like he's even going to reach Matt Stafford level.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if he's going to kind of do what like Trubisky and Case Keenum and now Kyle Allen's doing, kind of being like that solid secondary backup.
Yeah, it would be. Oh my, that would be just fantastic.
Assuming Tampa Bay doesn't want to keep him around.
Yes, come with us for a year, and yeah, I mean, that would be quite a flex. Being the backup for a guy drafted 6 spots after you in the same draft.
Well, I'm not saying necessarily that he would be on the Bills, but I'm saying more along the lines that might be like where his career kind of takes him, is like the secondary behind a young up and comer, and he kind of has his moments, kind of like a Fitzpatrick ish.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I like the idea of every. Yeah, I like the idea of every quarterback that was drafted in a higher position than Josh becoming his backup. Like, we had Trubisky that year. There was talk about Darnold this year. That would have been awesome. And let's just get them all. And
really?
Eventually,
Sam Darnold, I do not like his style of play at all.
Yeah, I'll take him as a backup. It's I think nobody's thrown the book out on Darnold just yet. But I think that would just be funny to have one of those guys, Mayfield or Darnold, eventually as his backup. And I mean, it could happen. I mean, these guys are going to want to stay employed. Yeah, and they're running out of chances, so running out of chances to start.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall see. But yeah, just moving right along to what I thought was a more than fairly good draft for the Bills this year. We had mentioned that first round pick, Dalton Kincaid, the tight end out of Utah. I had very little idea what we were going to do with this 27th overall pick this year. And when we moved up 2 spots, I was like, who are we taking? Who do they see here that is just absolutely can't miss? I mean, my main thing, I wanted to get a linebacker because it's the biggest glaring hole I think we have.
Yes.
I also, right tackle was a big thing for me. It was not big with everyone else. I know Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott are still on the Spencer Brown train. I have not seen anything from Spencer Brown that makes me think that he's the right tackle of the future.
Well, I mean, the thing is, also Spencer Brown he just gets his ass kicked, and it's not any fault of his own. It's a very physical position.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why these guys are just in constant rotation and just constantly getting banged up. That's a rough spot, especially depending on which teams you're playing against. If you're playing against someone who has a hard edge runner, like a Von Miller-esque kind of go. Say you were playing against Jacksonville, playing against another Josh Allen. That dude's just going to run you over.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And he I remember just in the Detroit game, it seemed like I was seeing it all season, but in the Detroit game, there was some undrafted rookie who just was beating him every single play. And it wasn't even close. It was the guy was around him by the time he got up. And I know he's just this big behemoth, 6'9", 310 or whatever. But it's just, so far, I just have not seen it. But I know Beane and McDermott are still riding him out. They still see the potential in him. And, that was definitely shown this draft where we did, we took 2 interior linemen and 0 tackles.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing. It's I think also protecting Josh Allen is more of a focus because they've made the comments so often that he needs to not do as many Josh Allen things for his own health long term.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that. We all love those highlight reels, but I'm almost tired of the hurdling. Just really, the first time he did it in his rookie year, I'm like, oh, that was fun. Please don't do that again. And now he does it just so regularly. And it's always, you just see it all the time. And I mean, in the Chiefs game last year, it was great. It led to a first down that kept the drive going. But it's just I don't know. I feel I lose a month off my life every time he does that because it's just my body shuts down for a brief second.
Oh yeah, no, you forget to breathe. Yeah, you're just kind of . But no, I mean, I think getting into the kind of like the draft, like getting kind of like more of those guys that save his life or give him the time to do
Hmm.
what he does best,
Oh
which is
yeah.
like the thing, into the next county. It's just,
Hmm.
I think that's where they really needed to focus, and that's where they did. You always know they're going to figure out a way to fill in like the hole like left behind by Edmonds. Like Bean's not dumb.
Hmm. Oh, absolutely.
The man's a freaking wizard.
It is true. I joke with my buddies. It's like I can question these picks, or anytime, and everybody else can. Like, there's always people like, why are we taking this pick? And there's very few people I trust more than them. Like, I should not be in that draft. As much as I think I know, I'm definitely glad they're the ones making the decisions. And because for the most part, you can't. No team's ever been perfect in the draft, but they've done a good job so far. And even with Dalton and Kincaid,
Yeah.
my jaw just hit the floor because and then I kind of had to think about it. Four wide receivers had been taken, like, just straight away,
Yeah,
and
my
I
hopes
was
for Zay Flowers died.
yeah, everybody had their guy. Zay Flowers was very interesting. I liked Addison, and he was taken, I believe, the pick right before us.
Oh, I
And
knew he was going to be gone. I just had a feeling.
yeah, I know. I was just thinking, is like, could it be? Could it be? And then he was taken off, and I was like, who are we trading up for? And as much as I wanted a linebacker, there was no linebacker worth that spot.
No,
And
and Kincaid is, I think, probably an unbelievably underrated pick. And the
oh
reason why
yeah,
I'm thinking that is because the dude's a receiver, and if he can kind of be like what Cole Beasley was, you know,
hmm,
the if they want to do like the double tight end run, let Dawson Knox be the freight train and let him just like run like a little, like outside slant, just kind of
hmm,
draw people away. Obviously, he's so
oh
big.
yeah,
He's like what 6'3", 250 pounds. Like he's gonna
oh
move
yeah,
people around.
yeah. He's a lean 250. Yeah, I think my favorite nickname I saw for him on Twitter was Swole Beasley.
Oh God. I
And
mean, but like also like the fact that he catches everything in a cold, which is great because he's a target. Like everyone kind of goes like, oh yeah, he's like Kelsey 2.0, and I'm like, sure, cool, great, grand, but at the end of the day, Josh Allen needs diversity of targets because he needs to spread all those defenders out, and he just needs guys that are big and fast that he can just launch it to, and those guys can take it and run it. Dawson Knox is amazing. I love him personally. Like
oh,
just
absolutely, yeah,
watching him barrel through people is a highlight reel of my life. Also,
oh
just
yeah,
some of the crazy catches he's done. Like when he caught like one flipped over a dude and still made it.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, this was like, I knew this was absolutely no reflection on Knox. I think you want to get Josh more weapons, and it's like this guy's a weapon. He's an opposite style of Knox. Knox can do a lot more of the dirty work. This is almost like a wide receiver who can just line up on the inside.
But he can also block too.
Oh yeah, it's
It seems like a Swiss Army knife that's kind of
mm,
built for a team that needs that kind of flexibility, like what the Bills are. So if he needs to like drop in to save Josh Allen's life, he'll do it.
oh, absolutely. I'm very, very satisfied with this pick, and it's also, I mean, I actually watched over the course of a year. I watched 202 college player reels on YouTube.
Okay.
I mean, some of them were like 3 minutes long. It was over the course of a year. I wanted to have as much info, and I really wasn't focusing on tight ends so much because I just didn't see it happening in the first three rounds. So I was, like I said, I was just really shocked. But the guys on NFL Draft Room, where I was watching the draft, they were just salivating over this guy since pick 13. They were like, it's like, I can't believe this. They were saying, I can't believe this guy's still on the board at pick 18. They thought he was like a generational tight end. And for us to get him at 25 is just pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, everyone was kind of going like, "Oh, well, he had the back injury, and that's why he dropped." And I'm like, it's a physical sport. People get banged up. It's not like the end of the world. And I think that a lot of teams tend to do that. They go like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, this could be problematic, and we've been burned before.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find the better player for the spots we need." Generational talent aside, if like I feel like that's where he kind of got like kind of shafted a little bit. But
Oh yeah,
it was
and
the same thing with Justin Shorter because he had that hamstring thing that he wasn't in the top 2 rounds.
yeah, and it's funny. He was one guy I was just unfamiliar with, and
He was
uh,
later.
absolutely, it seems like a good. It seems like a good. Shorter seemed like a good pick. That tall receiver, we've been lacking for a bit. Just but now, I know he was. I think he was like a 5-star recruit out of coming out of high school, but just somewhat unproductive for that for that ranking. But I always think with day 3 picks, it's just you just take whoever you want. The
Yeah.
the amount like the success ratio, if you look over the years, it's kind of limited. So don't try and it's a very low risk pick. So yeah, just
Yeah.
take who.
But at the same time, giving like I know right now we kind of live in the Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis with a third option wideout scheme, which I'm hoping
Mhm.
is Shakir. But
I love Shakir, and I think
but then we also have Deontay Hardy. So it's like, how do you balance? So it's,
Mhm.
I think giving those guys also just time to breathe, keeping them healthy,
Oh yeah.
like swapping them in and out, letting that stuff go. Like I think
Mhm.
Justin Shorter could be a great wide receiver 3 option, to kind of keep
Oh
things
yeah.
moving.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I love having competition at that end. We also Trent Sherfield we picked up, who I know he's loved by all of his teammates. I'm not so familiar with Sherfield. I just know his teammates love him because he's a wide receiver who loves to block. And we have kept 6 wide
Oh
receivers
yeah,
on the
Miami. Yeah.
yeah. When we have kept 6 wide receivers on the roster before, and with the expansion of the practice squad, uh, and you're getting bigger names on the practice squad these days. Now, you remember it used to just be like these guys you've never heard of, like walked off the street. And now you
Yeah.
get like wily veterans on your practice squad. So yeah, it's very interesting. Definitely, people were saying is like get Josh weapons, and that's that they did that this draft. So they
Well, they did it on both. They did it on both the running and the wide receiver game. Like the fact that
oh absolutely.
the fact that not only do we have going into the point we're going to talk about probably a little later was like Latavius Murray. I'm
Mhm.
like, him with Hines and Harris and Cook.
Oh yeah.
You know,
It's, yeah, it's like I want them to expand the roster to like 57. That's just like that's where the only problem comes in. It's like, man, it's like this would just be great to have, and but it's just like we probably will only keep 2 quarterback spots. We're not going to do 3.
don't
And
come Matt Barkley again. I love that man so much.
oh yeah, he seems Barkley just seems to be very content on the practice squad. Maybe not very content, but he's definitely I've not heard him publicly complain.
It
And
seems like he's just having the best time of his life at all points. It's like,
oh yeah,
I get to play football, and I'm not getting killed, and they're paying me. Sick.
oh absolutely, yeah, oh yeah, no, and I know him and Josh are buddies, so yeah, it's yeah, I think he just seems happy to be with Buffalo. I think people just like playing for this team, which is seems to be a far cry from like historically in this century.
Well, I mean, I would imagine not only with the fan base being so just diehard,
Hmm.
that you're embraced by a city and you're part of their culture, and you're like a thing. You're the champion of,
Hmm.
working class people who basically will cheer your name till they can't speak anymore. Like there's got to be something that like everyone, yeah, like I would imagine that people have to be like, hey, the attitude here is right, the people here are cool, the fans are great, food's good, you know.
Oh yeah, oh the food, yeah,
The
the food's a
winter
big
sucks.
food is a huge draw in Buffalo. I tell people, here in New York all the time. I'm like, man, it's like, it's not just the wings there. The food in Buffalo is just great. Like almost anything you get, people take pride in their work there. So everybody's trying to do the best.
Yeah, well, I mean, but also like people, and this obviously I know we're getting a little sidetracked, but it's more talking on the lines of like restaurants in Buffalo usually tend to have like smaller menus, and they tend to just work those things till they're perfect. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
I live in New York City, which unfortunately you have to have volume to maintain, so you have to make a big expansive menu. Buffalo, guess what? There's a restaurant or a fucking pizza joint. Guess what? They make pizza, wings, maybe chicken fingers, and like maybe like like rigatoni and sauce, and that's it. And that's all they
Oh
do
yeah.
is power into it, and everything they make is always good. And they've just made the recipe and they've customized it and they've worked it. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
one of those things that it's just like, all right. Anyways, I know we're getting way off topic on that one, but now I kind of
Oh
want,
no, we're allowed to talk Buffalo on the show.
yeah, now I kind of want to beef on Wick, but
But yeah, no, it's like in Kenmore, there's a pizza joint called DeMarco's. It's a brick the size of a garage, and they're just pumping out pizza and wings. That's all they offer. It's all they have to.
yeah,
And they're fantastic. And you're welcome for the free plug, DeMarco's, if you're listening.
Yeah.
You owe me a favor and plug this show.
all right, yeah. You can also plug a place in Lockport called Pizza Oven. They're also great to spoon.
Oh, Lockport. Okay, that's good to know.
Oh yeah,
It's a pizza oven. If I'm ever up that way,
on Vine. Yeah, it's
okay.
great. It's probably it's every time I go back to visit my father, I have to get it. If I don't, it's a problem.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely those spots. Even though it's a chain, Jim Steakout. It's like
Love
I
Jim.
can't leave Buffalo without getting a Jim Steakout, like 12-inch chicken finger sub. That's just disgustingly good.
Oh yeah,
Blue cheese dripping off the like plate. And all right, I could talk about.
Sorry.
Oh no, please no. It's I'm just thinking about Jim's Steakout now. I wish there was one just right down the street. Love, we got great value in the first round with Kincaid. Even better value in the second round with Osiris Torrance. For months, this guy was projected to go to the first round for us. Everybody was saying, this guy's going to Buffalo at 27, and he falls all the way to 59. This is just like a double win for us.
Yes, I think that this is value on just a high level. And also the one thing about him that's really interesting, and this is where I feel like he's going to be very successful, is that he does one position amazingly and he doesn't do any others.
Oh yeah,
which because we saw this last year, like Quisenberry was just being shuffled around so much that he was struggling.
Yeah,
outside of his role.
Mm-hmm.
Right
yeah,
and then he's like sitting here. He's like in the center for like Mitch Morris at one point. I think he was like even like right guard, and we were watching these guys struggle. And this dude, he's gonna just be a guard, and all he's gonna do is just save Josh Allen's life.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's and I think he excels both in pass blocking and run blocking. I think they say he's a little better at run blocking, but I think even in pass blocking is an upgrade than any guard we had last season. I mean, Saffold was an unmitigated disaster, which was very surprising. And Bates is just, I think we were expecting way too much from him. I think he's being pushed out because we also made two, it seems left guard is going to be solidified by Connor McGovern, the free agent. And we got David Edwards from the Rams, who started like 70 games in his career. And now I was thinking, okay, that's probably an even upgrade over Bates. Now, I don't even think he's competing. I don't even think Torrance is competing with him. I think Torrance goes in week one as right guard.
And you also have Ike,
Oh, that's right. He was just injured. He's always been solid and like absolutely solid. You definitely need depth on the line, and he's a veteran.
I think kind of like how they have the depth of the defense, how they can do the whole rotation thing just to keep these guys a little healthier. I think having those kind of things huge. Because I mean, unfortunately, like there's only one Mitch Morris. It's really hard to replace him. But
for sure,
luckily, Dion has like Tommy Doyle, and that way he can if he needs a breather, he has a chance.
Oh yeah, Doyle. That's it was that touchdown he had in the playoff game. That was fun. Anytime I've seen Doyle on the field, we didn't see him at all last year. It was only his rookie year. Mm-hmm. Anytime we saw the field in his rookie year, it was just almost laughable. He made Spencer Brown look like Trent Williams at times. But I can't be negative on this show because I hope to have these guys on. And
I mean, and the thing is, I think that keeping them healthy long term is way more effective than trying to be like, hey, we're just going to have Ryan Bates play every game and he has to be the first. He has to be the starter. Like, no, like give these guys a chance to like heal up. And I mean, their position is so brutal.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
we felt the pinch of it last year with some of these guys getting banged up, a little too banged up that they just couldn't do it. And you saw Josh just scrambling for his life.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, he did that way, way, way too often last season. That was a huge gaping hole for them, the interior line. And with free agency and the draft, they took care of it. In the seventh round, we took another guard, Nick Broker from Ole Miss, who's an interesting story. I even follow like future mock drafts, a year or two before. And I think when Broker was a sophomore, he was projected as a top 10 pick when he was at left tackle. I'm assuming, I think he gravely overachieved, or they underestimated his arm length. I think he's kind of short armed for somebody 6'5", and so he's been at left guard for the majority of his career at Ole Miss, where he's been okay. Any player is pretty much worth a pick in the seventh round. So hey, who knows? This could be a steal, but I'm not exactly seeing. If he can push someone off the lineup, great, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like I know that I remember doing research on him after he was drafted. He kind of had like a rough last year. Like I think he was he's like blowing like a bunch of big blocks, unfortunately, which was kind of like the thing that kind of pushed him down the list.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
he was like, unfortunately, it was one of those things where it just had he had enough bad games that it kind of knocked him down to put from top 10 to, I think he was like what, 210th or 215th or whatever it was.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And early seventh round. That's around that. I saw the highlights from the Senior Bowl too, and it seemed he was getting worked a little bit, especially in like the drills. So it's like, we'll just see. Definitely, he won't be pushing Torrance anytime soon, but hey, if the potential is definitely there and definitely worth that spot.
Oh yeah, and also these guys are now going into a new level of coaching, a new level of play. Some people can they'll get into it. Look at Rousseau. Jesus Christ.
Oh, absolutely.
Exploded.
Yeah, it's. I'm just waiting. I mean, he's already proven his worth. I mean, he hasn't gotten the double-digit sacks yet. He's had some injuries, but Rousseau. One thing that's completely undervalued with him amongst the fan base is he's fantastic against the run, and that usually gets a little that gets thrown under the rug because everybody just wants to see. People just love the sacks. I'm guilty of that too. I just sacks are fun. Yeah, when he's on his sack game, he is, and then sometimes you just don't see him for a while. And speaking of the defense, I had to wait till the third round for us to get the linebacker position taken care of.
Yeah, Dorian Williams.
Yes, Dorian Williams out of Tulane, who I had rated pretty high amongst linebackers. I thought third round was probably a good spot for him. I was also in the boat of possibly drafting two linebackers this year, maybe one in the second and one in the third after we'd go like best player available. But linebackers really dropped this year, with the exception of the Lions completely reaching for Jack Campbell.
I thought if he was still available, I thought that was a pick for us.
I had heard many people had him many teams had him very low valued, and I just. I would have been. I was shocked he was the first linebacker off the board. I would have thought that would have gone to Trenton Simpson or Drew Sanders. I mean, Campbell kind of is the unflashy type, but he also wasn't just like a perfect, fundamentally sound. He had a bunch of missed tackles at Iowa. I'm just representing here with my sweat. For those who can't see, I'm wearing an Iowa sweatshirt. I didn't go to the school, but Micah Hyde and AJ Epinesa did, so, and Ike Bucker. Yeah. So that's my connection there. But no, Dorian Williams is a little undersized, but has great sideline to sideline range, very good in coverage. Is decent on the run. Mainly his big knock was size, but that was the same thing we said about a fifth round draft pick linebacker in 2017, who was all pro last year. And so I definitely like this pick. I even had him over Campbell as far as my rankings. I just knew he would be probably available here, and there was a run on linebackers just like right before he was picked. It was kind of in the third round. It was like, okay, these linebackers are dropping, and then it was like Sanders, Simpson, Diant Henley was taken. I love Diant Henley. I was really hoping he would slide to us, and but yeah, no, he was, I think, the third backer off the board. But yeah, no, I'm very, very happy with Dorian Williams. He's going to be competing with Terrell Bernard, looks like, our third round pick from last year.
Yeah. So, I mean, so as far as like our linebacker situation, I'm very curious, and I'm also very excited to kind of see it, because I know that we bullied AJ Klein into greatness. Like,
that's a good way to say it.
Oh God, I feel really bad because he used to just get dunked on, and he's a good player. I mean, I know with him and Dodson, they're obviously going to be battling it out. I think, Milano's going to do what Matt Milano does, because I know that, and I'm glad they didn't push him into taking over Jermaine Edmonds' spot, because I feel like that would have been a miscalculation on a level. Because you got to let him do what he does amazing at, not put him in there and be like the post guy to run outside for the run. Like, no, he's going to chase down the quarterback. He's going to chase down the running back. He's going to do all that stuff to the small outside. So I think having Terrell Bernard, who I think will be the starter, but I don't know if he's the finisher.
That's my feeling. I mean, I don't have an opinion of Terrell Bernard, really. I barely saw him last year. I think he was mainly on special teams.
But I mean, he knows the system. He is integrated. He's battle tested. Because he knows the rate of play in the NFL now. Whereas I think that's something that every one of these guys needs to get used to.
Oh, absolutely.
And kind of having Dorian Williams have somebody to at least kind of help guide him into a role is obviously going to be a great thing.
Oh yeah, and another interesting thing, even though he's not a linebacker, one of our free agent signings, during the off season, was Taylor Rapp. I'm kind of curious. He's a hard hitting guy. I'm kind of curious if they're going to do some really not experimental, but some very unique packages, maybe like 3 safety sets with just Milano, and it'll just be very interesting.
I think that right now on paper, this defense is so dirty and so disgusting that it's just we're going to damage people.
Oh yeah. Oh, the secondary depth when healthy. There's I don't think there's an 8 or 9 some, if you will. That's even close to this. And speaking of the secondary, the last pick was the 7th, and it was the 7th to last pick.
Yeah.
In the draft, I think, was Alex Austin, cornerback out of Oregon State, a guy I was not aware of at all. Saw some tape of him afterwards. Looks pretty scrappy. It's without a doubt, it's going to be hard for him to stick around on the 53-man roster.
I couldn't agree more, because and nothing against him. He's not a very big dude. I mean, he's 6'1", but that doesn't really mean much.
Yeah.
Or maybe 6 feet. I can't remember, but I remember he's a little bit on the smaller side. But
definitely didn't look big. I didn't get the stats on him, but it didn't look big when I saw him.
I mean, also I'm 5'7", so everyone's a giant to me. So it's all. But no, it's just I think with that roster being so stacked as it is, he is going to have to fight, stab, and kill to stay on the active roster. He might be great on the practice squad, or he might not even survive the first culling of the roster. But I mean, at the same time, having options and giving these guys some room to breathe and let them kind of recover is going to be crucial for us. Because I know that's what they've been doing. They've been trying to swap out the defense so that way they get those guys a chance to breathe. And Epinesa or Boogie or Jordan Phillips, all those guys, they give them chances to go do a thing, let the other guys recover, do the cycle. Same thing should be happening for him. If he stays on the active roster.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, but it's I have a feeling he's going to make some noise in preseason, probably be a great candidate for the practice squad, and but no, this my God, like the five cornerbacks alone we have: Tre'Davious, Elam, Benford, who was great in limited play last year. Dane Jackson, always found suitable. Taron. I mean, that's probably your five right there, and that's about as good as any five like in the history of the NFL.
Oh, and that's the thing. It's like I feel like Tre'Davious is going to be back to 100% this year. So.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he definitely wasn't at 100% last year, but he was still making plays. It wasn't the same old Tre'Davious, but he still had it. And no, and also
so many pass interference ones, man. I just kept every time. I'm like, no.
Oh
buddy.
And also, just in this past week, we had two significant free agent signings. We had talked about Latavius Murray earlier for a bit. 33 years old, still had 760 yards rushing last year. I remember mainly, you probably remember this, we still had playoff hopes in 2014 under Doug Marrone, and we played I think it was like the 2-12 Raiders in like week 16. We were competing with them. Marcel Darius got injured, and remember Darius was an absent. We had to knock him because he had problems.
Then we cut him to Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, for 2 years there, Marcel Darius was an absolute beast. Probably like one of the best defensive players we had. The spotlight was short, but his peak was very short, but it was quite a peak. I remember he went injured, and Latavius Murray just ran all over us. Like it was like he was getting 10 yards a clip. Granted, he was probably like 25 at that time, but obviously still has gas in the tank at 33. We were mentioning, that's quite a running back group we have now. Harris, Cook, and Hines, and Hines is probably going to be the favorite for the kick returning duty. So he's probably safe
with that two run.
Absolutely, yeah. That was so fun.
So as far as the running backs, if I can jump in on that one,
go for it.
First off, like they gotta freaking use Hines, not just be a freaking punt returner.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like he didn't really get. He didn't get used. He was just there.
Yeah.
As far as Latavius Murray, I think that he is not an every down back. I think he is maybe like the third and short, the boom bust kind of guy. Because between him and Damian Harris, like those are going to be your two ground and pound dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Cook, who is obviously the flex runner receiver. Then you have Hines, same thing. Those are the two speed demons.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having the 1-2 punch era is great. Now, the one thing about like Latavius Murray, and I mean no disrespect on this one, is that obviously his age does come into it. He has the 1-year deal. If he makes it through into the active roster, I think he's going to just brutalize people.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Buffalo also isn't a heavy run team, so he's not going to be. Since we don't have motor anymore. James Cook is obviously going to take the number 1 spot. And then you're going to have Harris and Murray basically be the slam guys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And Harris, Harris had some of those. Yeah, Harris had some of those issues last year. So it might be nice to have, Murray on the practice squad as like almost like a compliment where we barely lose a step if something. I mean, knock on wood. I hate even thinking that. But Damian Harris was absolutely one of my favorite free agent signings of any year. Especially, I love the guys who usually just tend to brutalize us, and we just get rid of that by signing them. And that was huge. Another signing we had this week, I absolutely loved Poona Ford, defensive tackle. I can't believe this guy stuck around till after the draft. Absolutely loved in Seattle. People just loved him. Overachiever to the absolute max. Undrafted free agent out of Texas, considered small, but absolutely dominating. He joins a already full defensive tackle.
He physically he doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 310-pound dude running like he's like a 200-pound dude. And just chasing down quarterbacks. Like I remember watching like a reel of him just like dominating Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray's fast as hell.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm just like sitting here, I'm like going like, how? How does that work? How? He's so fast. He's so explosive, and he's the man's just tough as nails. I think that he is going to do dangerous things here, and I'm very excited for it.
I know, and it's like we have such a full we have a full defensive tackle squad right now. However, I don't think any of them are signed past next year.
That's that's why I said our window is closing, because
exactly
right now everyone is like going like, oh, we're fucked cap wise. Everyone's getting 1-year contracts.
I know it's we're gonna see, but they always manage something, and but yeah, I mean, there's going to be that 1 year where you're just paying these guys like half of their salary over the course of all of these years that they have, but. I love that signing of Poona Ford. I was hoping it would happen even before. This is even better. And
I didn't know that was in the works. I thought he was going to stay at Seattle just because.
Oh, he was very much liked there. I know Niners fans were very happy he's leaving the division. That's always a great sign. And and I am getting the 2-minute warning now from the producers. So before I say goodbye to you, absolutely. I'm going to give you the trivia question for next week. You'll have some time to ponder it over. You can give me a guess after we stop recording. Yep. So there were 9 coaches in between Marv Levy and Sean McDermott. Mm-hmm. Who coached the most games of those 9? I know you may know it right off the bat, but you can give me your answer in just a bit. But Mike Florio, my good buddy, so happy you joined us today, and I hope to have you back sometime during the season or even earlier than that. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, man. Anytime, man. And thank you, Bills Mafia, for joining us here on Bills or Bust podcast. Enjoy the festivities during the rest of the off season. We'll be back very shortly with more content before the season. And let's go, Buffalo. Thanks again for listening to Buffalo Bills or Bust. Remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and let's go, Buffalo! Buffalo Bills or Bust has been a Samurai Dinosaur production, copyright 2023.